Hello guys. Hello guys. So hello guys, what's up? Thanks for joining the session. Here I will teach you revision of C++ programming. So guys, actually I know that we all have exam after 2 days of C++ programming. So guys, जिसने अपनी प्रिपरेशन कर रखी है C++ की, उनके लिए तो ये रिवीजन होगी सिर्फ. अगर किसी स्टूडेंट्स ने क्लासेस नहीं ली है, अटेंड नहीं की है और ये बाई चांस से बहुत कम आती है, तो उसके लिए बहुत बेनिफिशियल होगा कि इस सेशन को देखना. यहाँ पर मैं बेसिक से स्टार्ट करूँगा और एडवांस मीन्स सारा सिलेबस कंप्लीट करने की कोशिश करूँगा. टुडे आई विल कंप्लीट थ्री सेक्शन you can say that 3 units. Okay guys, let's get started. Or guys, quickly confirm me that is I audible, means my voice is clear or some background noise is coming. Okay guys, thanks. Now guys, let's get started. Here is the agenda. Here firstly I will revise the topics, then I will ask the MCQ related to that topic. And as I said, I have a 3 section. So in first section I have a syllabus. These are the topics which basically I will revise you. I will not teach anything from here. I will just revise, because if C++ programming language is not just a kid, it has a lot of environment in that. So if I started teaching, it will take a lot of hours, approximately 12 or 22 hours, but we haven't enough time, so we will revise all the topics. So guys, our first topic is difference between procedures and object oriented programming. So guys, in this we all know that project oriented programming is known as POP and object oriented programming is known as OOPS. So these are the points which I am not going to teach you. You can easily learn, or you can easily understand by reading these points. I will tell you the basic difference between these. So guys, POP is known as procedural oriented programming and OOPS is known as object oriented programming. Basically, object oriented programming is play with the data and objects, and whereas POP doesn't play. POP doesn't have any data and object, class members. So this is the things which make OOPS different from POP. And here you have we can say that you have class functions, you have datas, and in that OOPS your program is divided into datas, objects. But in POP your program is divided into function. You don't have any data, so you divide your program into all the function, different function. So basically in function you can't hide any data, so it's less secure. But in OOPS you can hide easily data by using a class, by using an object. That's why OOPS is a secure programming language. Most of the programmers, or I can say that approx 90% programmers use OOPS or object oriented programming. So guys, this is the basic difference. Rest you can learn from here. You can take a screenshot, or I will provide this PPT in our Telegram section, in Telegram group. I have provided the link also in description. So guys, second, our is feature of input and output streams. Here is the reading and writing data is seen in synouts. So guys, in this you know that I know that you have already learned the C programming language. So in C programming language you already use that printf, scanf. Printf basically used for display the output, and scanf is basically used for taking the inputs. Similarly in C++ you use cout for display the output, you use cin for taking the input. It's small basic difference between C++ and C programming language. You use for reading you use cin, cout, and for writing cin. Now come to the next topic. What is class? Guys, without class C++ is totally unused. You can't use anything without class. Here is a main thing is class. In C, if you haven't learned anything, if you haven't learned C class in C++, it means you haven't know any knowledge about the C++ programming language. So what is the class? Class is a user defined data type, and it's a user defined data type in which you have created your different data members. And let us take an example about the class. What is class? Let's suppose a car. Suppose car is an object. Car is an object, then car can have a red color. Car can have red color, blue color, black color. It's its attributes. Means the basic attributes. Color is the basic attributes of class. And the weight is also the attributes. 200 pounds, 250. That's also attributes. Now come to behavior. We can drive the car, we can brake out, we can run. So that's called a behavior. Similarly, in class, you have a name. That's car means you have a class name. You have attributes. You have behavior. In our programming language, we use attributes like a data class member, data members, but we use behavior like a member function. So guys, you can't understand by the reading only, because this is a programming language. You need to go practical. So guys, I will show you by coding. So guys, can you see my editor which I am using? Is it visible to you? Okay guys, here I will show you the class. Basically, I mean the boilerplate of C++ programming language. This is the boilerplate, and sometimes some website prefer that you should not use that. You should iStream. Basically, this is the main boilerplate of the C++ programming language. You use iStream header file. Instead of this, I used bit/std C++, but I prefer you should use bit/std instead of iStream header file, because this file doesn't contain all the header file, but in this file bit/std C++, you can get all the file like manip, like vector, like list, all the file already present in that library. So you don't need to extra includes or extra mention that we are using that kind of file. So it's better if you use this library, but otherwise you are using a stream. That's enough. That's also enough for you. So guys, I make a boilerplate. Now I am going to make a class. For making class, you know that it's a keyword class. Now it's come to class name. Which kind of class you want to create. So let's suppose I'm making the class car. You have done structure, union, enum in C language program, same as like structure, but it's a different some difference in structure. You can't make a member private, public, protected, but in class you can make a member public as well as private as well as protected. That's why your data becomes secure while using the class, while using the object oriented programming. Now is it visible? Okay guys, now in class you can make an object like public, you can make a private, now you can make a protected. These are the basic members of class. You can make this is the things which make different from structure, union. So guys, here by default your data became a private. If you are not using any of these members, by default your data become a private. Now come to the point. So what is the member, class member? What is the member function? So here I am using public. What does the public keyword do? Here public makes whatever the we can say whatever the variable data type, whatever the data type in the public, you can access it from outside the class also, but in private you can access the data member inside the class only. In protected also you can access the data member inside the class as well as outside the function by using the friend function. What is the friend function? We will teach friend function after some slides. We will have time to teach them also. So guys, focus on here. I use public means whatever the data create inside the public, I can access it outside the class also. So in public I created a data member int x, int y. I created two data members. Here whatever here it's int xy, it can be used outside the class main and above the function everywhere I can use by using the mention the class name car, and it's also called attribute, and it's called attributes, and we can say it's class member. So this question may be asked that by default which members is automatically presented in the class. So that's the answer will be private. Okay guys, and whatever the behavior, whatever the function you made inside the class, like class can drive we can drive the car, so you make a function void drive. So that function drive is now behaving like an behavior. It can drive also, and in our programming language we can call it as member function, class member function. That's a definition of class member function. You can make a function inside the class, and that's called class member function. This is the basic definition of class. In this we have only three things: public, private, and protected, and class member function. These are all the things are related to your class. Someone can be asked about the MCQ related to on that topic only. No one will come outside this class. Now next topic is static data member and static member function. As you know that what is a static function, what is the static data member, and what is the static member function. We have done class data member and class member function. Class data members are the members which are present inside the class, and function which are present inside the class function. So what is static? Static you have done already in C programming language, that static has the initial value 0 and its life scope until the program doesn't end. That's called static variable. So similar in C++, in a static it means your data will be stay active until you doesn't end the program. This is the main function of static data member. And how we can initialize this member and how we can do this, I have written in here also. Has include bits less using namespace. These are the header files. Just you need to make the static number inside the class, and you need to define the static variable outside the class also. Then you are able to access the static member. The main benefit of static member is that you can't change the value after the initializing. You can once initialize, after you can't change any value inside the static member. This is the really advantage of the static member function in C++ programming language. The MCQ can be related to like that. What will the initial value of static data members? That will be 0. At initially program itself provide 0 value inside that static data member. Now guys, come to the function. What is the function? And function with default parameter and arguments. So guys, function is a really important parameters in the C++. What is the function? Function may be user defined function. Function may be already present in the library. So I will go show you. So guys, function, as you know that function, what purpose function is used. Function is used to save our coding and to make the code attractive. By using the function, our code doesn't become so irritative. We can use function, it seems look good, and a user can easily understand our code by making a function. Only that purpose we have a function. So here function, I can show you by making an example of addition of two number by the function, and with the default parameter, function overloading, manipulator function, all the things will be covered in that only in that topic. I declare a function add, and here I am passing the argument a and b. This is called call function. We are calling the function, but we need to declare the function firstly. So I'm declaring the function int add. If you write here only, if you are defining the function above, then you don't need to declare again. You can take a parameter a and b, and you can easily return a plus b. Int, it is a value, it's a function of return data type int, so it's give me the int value. Now I'm calling the function, or I can print this is the function I called, and it's return me the value, whatever the value of a. I give initially value a is equal to 8 and b is equal to 9. You can see here it give me 17 value. Here we found a 17. That's the overall function work. Now what is the default function, default arguments? Here we can initialize only 0. Here we can initialize the variable by the 0. Whatever it take, I give a 3 parameter, int a, int b and c, and I declare him itself in themselves by the 0. So whatever, if I pass a 2 argument, then it will take only 2 parameters. If I pass a 3 argument like this, then it will take 3 parameter and it will return me same. Now I made a I called 2 times a function, and I made a function only once time. This is the benefit of function default argument. Here you find the 17 sum by adding a and b, 8 plus 9. Because I put a 0 0 initialize, it take a and b argument only, and it put a equal to 8 and b equal to 9, and c became 0 initially. But in second time call, we create a is equal to 9, b is equal to a is equal to 8, b is equal to 9, and c equal to 3, and it return me adding of all these data member. So we got 17 and 20 here. You can see here out 17 and 20. So that's all about function. Now we can come to inline function, manipulator function, function overloading. This all kind of function also we will cover here. What does the inline function? Inline function, there is nothing difference in inline function or default function. You can usually simply write inline keyword in front of function. It's become an inline function. And you can, what does the inline function works? It put all the data which you have written in the function. Instead of passing, it put all these things in here while you are calling this inline function. This is the small basic and difference between inline function and default function. By putting a keyword align inline, the whole function replace here a in the 12th line here. So this is called inline function. I'm comment out this. Now what is the manipulator function? In manipulator function you have a 2 types of manipulator function divided into 2 types. First is without argument, and second is with argument. So like you have used end line here, this is manipulator function, and you can use ws white space, and you can use ws white space, but with argument you have too many different function like set w. You can use a set w here. Like I'm showing you. Here I put a for loop, and in that for loop I create a into 2 iteration I and j with, and here I am printing the I value. It will give me a star method, but tend to a right angle triangle. You can see here. But here our function will come here, set w, or we can say manipulator function. if I use 15 here, and if I am not giving any keyword, then it will become a irritatable. No one can understand what is this. No one can understand what is this going and what the outputs came. So by for avoiding these things, we use setW function, manipulator function. Here we can give anything, but we how many setW we are giving. SetW means basically set bit, and how much set width you are trying to give here. So here I give a 5 setW, means it will goes up to 5. It will allocate the space 5 before the number. Now you can see here the benefit of setW. It allocates the 5 bits everywhere in every loop before the I. That's the benefit of setW. Here setW and one more manipulator function, set fill, you can use here. For what do you want to give in the place of bit, in the place of bit. So let's suppose I want to give a slash, then I can give, instead of space I can give slash. Now you can see that instead of slash, instead of space, all the slash has overcome. I want to give star. So these all things which are manipulated, these are called, this is the function, the name of function is manipulator function, and here we are using some function with arguments. So guys, this is all about the manipulator function. Now come to the new difference between call by value, call by address, and call by reference. What do you mean by call by value? What do you mean by call by address? What do you mean by call by reference? So here call by value means you are passing an arguments in the function where it declares by the, just by the placing the name variable only. Like I can show you here. You did add function by the call by value only. It is the add function. Here you pass the simple parameters or arguments without writing any ampersand or any asterisks. So it's a call by value. You whatever you change in that, it will not reflect in your code. Like I will change in the my code a is equal to 30 and a b is equal to 20, but here the still value of a will be 8. I did change here, but still here will be value 8. You can see the value of a and b is 8. First it prints the sum of these. After that the value of a is 8. It doesn't reflect to it. So this is all about it. Now I am going to show you the why the function call by reference. This call by value, it doesn't reflect anything from here. But in call by reference or call by address, call by reference you need to use a address thing. Here you will put an asterisk in front of the variable, it become a pointer and it store the value as well as address. Whatever you change now in this point, in this function, it will affect your code also. The value of a or b now will become 30 and 20. Now you can see the firstly when I run this. Now it's the value before the passing the argument in the function, and after this is the value while passing the while passing the reference variable. What you need to remember, then when you are calling the function, you need to put ampersand in front of the variable. It will give the address to the pointers, so that now it's the function which are taking the reference value as well as address. Now whatever you will change in that function, it will reflect to your code. Like see, 8 and 9, it's the value. Firstly we put we initialize a is equal to 8 and b is equal to 9, but after the passing the function by the call by reference, our value become changed. It becomes 30 and it becomes 20. This is the value of this is the function of our call by reference. So this is the basic difference of call by reference and call by value. Whatever in call by value you change in the function doesn't reflect to your main function, but in call by reference, all the things you change in the function, it reflect to your code or main code. So guys, next it's MCQ. The first MCQ is in regard to classes, which statement is true? A class has a name and describe attribute and behavior of an object. A class describe only the attribute of an object. Class has no name. These are the three options. What will be the option of according to you? A, B or C? As I have already told you in class definition, the class has name, describe attribute as well as behavior. So the answer will be A. Class has a name, describe attribute as well as behavior of an object. Which of the following are legal variable names in C++? You have already covered these things in C programming as well as. So what will be the answer of this question? You can't declare any name with a special character as well as a numerical value. So in first option, the name start with a special character, so it doesn't consider any legal variable name. And in fourth one also you started with a variable the integer, so it doesn't also come in a legal variable name. So left with second and third. These are the name which we can use in a programming language. These are the legal variable name. So our option right will be B, 2 and 3. Now third question is, a member function can always access the data in C++. A member function can access the data. Now I have already tell you what is the member function, and it can access the data. So guys, member function is declared in the class as well, and we can't use any else member function. So answer will be private, D, private part of its class. We can't use member. We can't access any data in outside the class. So it can access the data only which is declared in the class. The next question is, what is the output of the following code? I have told you tell you the function with overloading as well as default parameters. Function with default parameters. So here it took a default parameter int a0 b4. So what will be the answer according to you? Yes, its answer is A17. It took while passing the print value argument 13 to, it took a is equal to 13, and we have already default value b is equal to 4. So our parameter will become 13 plus 14, 17. The next question is, what will be the output of this question? This is little bit complex, but it's have a static variable. No, it doesn't have any static data members, but it has a function outside the class. So according to, what will be the answer of this question? So guys, you can see that say we make a object rect in rect class rect1, and the value passing is there 3, 4. So it took a class in the member function with the argument 3, 4. So x value become 3 and y value become 4. By this we are returning the multiplication of these two numbers. So what is the multiplication of these two numbers? 3 plus 4, 3 into 4, we got 12. So answer will be A. So guys, next question is when are the two functions with same name called overloaded? When are the two functions with same name called overloaded? What will be the answer according to you? When we call that function are overloading? Yes, the answer will be C. If they have different number or type of parameters. If they have different numbers or different parameters, that means their function are overloading. Now it's a basic and it's a very simple question. How many parameters can a function have? How many parameters can a function have? The answer will be B. Yes, the answer will be B, as many as you want. So we have completed the first section, in which we have covered the difference between POP and OOPS, function, and what is the definition of class, and private, protected and public members, and member class member function, and where it can use, how it can be used. So now in section 2 we have a difference between pointer and reference variable, and type of pointers, and the arrays and strings. These all things we have in section 2. Let's complete by the code. Basically, what are the pointers? Pointers are the different data types which can store the address of another variable. You know that pointer is basically used to store the address of a variable. So how we can what is the syntax of initializing a pointer? How we can initialize a pointer? You can simply write a asterisk from any data variable. If you write this, it will become a pointer, and you will store any data member. You will store any address of any data member. Like I have declared a variable int a. Now I make a pointer int star p, and for storing the address, you just use it ampersand before the variable. But it does the ampersand code. Ampersand means you are giving the address of that variable. I am giving the variable of a. Now p has contained the address of a variable, and whatever the value of p, it get reflected to whatever the value of a, it get reflected to p. Yes. Now how you can see? You can see the value of a. You can see the value of star p, both are same. But I have given any value to it, so it will give me random value. Let me give 10 value. A is equal to 10. Now both will be printed as 10. 10, 10. That's the pointer works. Now you have seen this. This is the basic initialization of pointers. How we can initialize, how we can declare, how we can initialize the value of how we can initialize the address of another variable. These things you have already covered in C programming language also. Now what does the pointers work? How does the pointer works in function, in loops, in function, as well as in parameters? And basically types of pointers also. Basically pointers has 4 types. Pointers have 4 types. First is a void pointer, second is void, third is null, and fourth is dangling pointers. So here will be cover void pointer. What is the void pointer? Void pointer is basically used for initializing a pointer when you don't know what kind of which kind of the address you are taking. Does the variable is float, double, int, strings. So you use void pointer. Here you can initialize a pointer by writing a void keyword start p. And if you have it doesn't matter, you have a variable int, it will take a value of int also. If you have a variable double, it can access the address of everyone, int, double, float, string, everyone. That's why the void pointer is used. What does the while pointer do? While pointer basically did what is the while pointer? If you initialize an array, if you initialize a variable, after if you initialize a pointer but you are not declaring at that same time, that means you are creating a while pointer. If you are initializing a pointer but you are not creating it, you are initializing a pointer but you are not creating the address, you are not declarize that which kind of address is taking, that it become a while pointer. And now come to the next pointer. This is called null pointer. What does the null pointer do? It gives a zero value to a pointers. It simply null the pointers which pointer you have created early by writing the start ptr is equal to null. Now our pointer become null. Now you can't store anything inside the pointer, it's become null. And if the second way to initializing the null is int star ptr is equal to null ptr. This is the second way you can initialize the null pointer. So these are the types of pointer: while, null, and void. And dangling pointer basically is a similar type of while pointer. You firstly initialize and declare, but after that you becoming it's a null. So firstly you initialize and you are declaring the pointers and address of any variable, but after the some line of code you are declaring it as 0. That's become a dangling pointer. That's all about the pointers. Now come to the array. What is the array? Array is a data type which store the same time of data, which store the same data types in a continuous memory location. You can't store different data type in an array. You need to declare single data types like int, float, double. Like we are declaring int data type with size 10. Now you are declaring 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means you are declaring a 10 variable. I have declared 5, which it has created a memory of 10 variable, and it's having a data type int. So it means that all the variable inside its array will be int only. That's you use for whenever you have so much data, so much members, and you need to store them. For example, in school we have 500 students, and we have to note the school marks of the subjects. So what we will do, we will not make a 500 data types, we will not make 500 variables. So we will simply make an array of 500, and we will store the marks of all 500 students by taking the index, and always index start from 0. This kind of question can also ask in exams, that from which index start of an array. So that the answer will be 0. Index always start from 0, not from 1. Now the come to find the standards C++ string. So in string is same as the char array. but it's a little bit different from the carrier. In carrier you need to define the size. What does the size of string have? Like 15, that you can store the alphabet or limit to 15 only. But in C++ you have a keyword string. By putting that keyword you can store unlimited, means infinite alphabet. You don't need to mention the size, what kind of size its string have. So that's all about string. Now this now that the MCQ comes array. What is array? Array is defined as according to options, which option will be true. Array. Here the answer will be B. An array is a series of elements of same type in continuous memory allocation. The next MCQ will be output of this program will be. What will be the output of this program? Yes, the answer will be B here also. The output will be 27, where we have created a for loop. Inside we are adding all the element of the arrays. So next question is determine the outputs. What will be the output of this? Here we have created a string of 5